four fighters, all four ladies joining us today on the call. 7 world titles and 2 Ring Magazine belts on the line in this historic doubleheader. The main event, which was previously announced, and many of you tuned into the press conference today, will see 2-time Olympic gold medalist and WBC, WBA, IBF, and Ring Magazine middleweight champion Claressa Shields, aiming to once again become undisputed at 160 pounds by facing her longtime rival and WBO champion Savannah Marshall. That is our main event. And then our co-feature will showcase MIKAELA Mayer, who is looking to take one step closer to becoming undisputed and the first undisputed champ at 130 pounds by putting her WBO, IBF, and Ring Magazine junior lightweight titles on the line against the WBC champion, Alycia Baumgardner. So before we get to the main event, this whole card, what we heard today, is going to be an all-ladies fight card. I'm super excited about that. It's promoted by Salida Promotions and Boxer in association with Top Rank. So kudos to everybody involved for making this happen. I'm Christina Poncher, taking you through today's call. We have media on the call. Questions will be funneled in through PR. I will then cue the media to ask questions to the fighters, but we have MIKAELA Mayer on first. So we'll get started with her, and then Alycia Baumgardner will be joining us momentarily, hopefully get these two on the call together. But MIKAELA, happy belated birthday, you 4th of July baby. I hope you enjoyed your birthday and training camp. Thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Yesterday kicked off training camp, so I got to be with Coach Al and Ginny on my birthday. We were in the gym working, and I'm excited. This is going to be such a great event, and I'm starting the preparation now.
Ever since you signed with Top Rank and had the opportunity to turn pro, you've always talked about it being bigger than you. You talked about wanting to make a difference and move the needle when it came to women's boxing in general. How do you feel like this card, is this what you've dreamed about in terms of kind of moving that needle and being a part of something special when it comes to women's boxing?
You're right. This is the type of vision I definitely had for the sport, but I never envisioned getting to do something this awesome and this unique, and joining the stage with Shields versus Marshall. When they first brought this to my attention and said, what do you think of this as a possibility? Contrary to what people might think, I think they think that I, didn't want it, or that, it's that Baumgardner versus Baumgardner, it was a main event worthy, but that is not the case. When I heard this was a possibility, I said, yes, 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 absolutely. We have to make it happen. And I think it's a one-stop shop for the fans. And that's what it's about. That's what I'm about. I'm about putting on a show and entertaining and giving the fans the fights that they want to see. And that's one of the reasons I pushed so hard to get Mayer versus Baumgardner done this year. She didn't want to get it done this year. She wanted me to wait. She told me that over and over again. She told the press, and MIKAELA's going to have to wait. But that's not what women's boxing needs. And so kudos to Top Rank for giving her the offer she couldn't say no to. And here we are.
The fight will be streamed live exclusively in the U.S. on ESPN+, both main event, co-main event, and undercards, as well as Sky Sports on the UK. I know that means a lot to you to be able to not only fight in the UK, but have your skills shown on ESPN here in this historic card, and for everybody to be able to watch a fight of this magnitude. This card itself could have been a pay-per-view. You said it, both you and Alycia could have headlined your own card, but to put something super powerful like this together and bring it to the audience worldwide, I mean, this is without a doubt the biggest fight of your career. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, every fight now in my career, I've done the groundwork and I'm in a position now. And so every fight is the biggest fight of my career. And that's like, I call that privilege pressure, right? So there's a lot of pressure on this fight, and it's huge, and it's definitely the biggest fight of my life, but this is what I asked for. This is what I wanted, and this is what it's going to take to grow women's boxing. So yeah, every fight now is big.
And we're just waiting for the word from Evan when Alycia jumps on the call and joins us, and then we will get to the media questions at that point. And I don't want to go too much into the trash talk either before she's on the call and has a chance to kind of explain some of that stuff as well. But nonetheless, were you able to tune in to the press conference between the main event fighters, Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall? And if not, just your thoughts. I mean, obviously, being a fan of women's boxing and knowing the sport the way that you do, in addition to being a professional fighter, your thoughts on the main event.
I love this. I mean, obviously, I love this main event. I was looking I'm also a fighter, but I'm also a fan when it comes to big fights like this, right? So I've been really looking forward to seeing this matchup. And I mean, I couldn't be more excited about getting to share the stage with them. You know, Claressa Shields, she's my Olympic sister, so I'll always have her back. I think she's a more well-rounded fighter, but obviously Savannah Marshall has proven to have a lot of power, and you know, she's undefeated and earned her spot and going up against Claressa Shields. So it's going to be a great fight and great for the sport, not just women's boxing, but this is great for the sport. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to be a part of it. I can see how hyped the fans are and everyone is for this. Some people think that, oh, maybe, you know, we shouldn't have combined these two cards. They should have stood alone. But to me, it's about giving back to the fans, because that's the people who support our career. That's who help us to build our sport and do what we love to do. So this is a one-stop shop. They get to see two of the greatest fights in women's history in one night. And I really couldn't think of a better way to give back to them and, you know, show my thanks for everything they do for us.
And I will ask Alycia the same question when she gets on. But for you, obviously, we know where the beef started with Claressa and Sav going back to the amateur days. But for you and Alycia, I mean, was it just something that kickstarted over social media, or is it simply because, you know, she has a belt in the division that you hold multiple belts? Where did the animosity between the two of you start?
I've done what I've always done, and that's chase the champions. That's what I've always done. And me and Terry Harper had a rivalry building, you know, before she got beat by Baumgardner. And now that Baumgardner is in that position, I'm going to come for her. And that is just the way it is. She seemed to take it very personally, thinking that I was trying to steal her shine or make it about me. But obviously she didn't have the same champion mindset that I've always had, and that's fight the best. She wanted me to wait. She told all the media, no, Mikaela's going to have to wait. She's going to have to come to me, blah, 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 blah. And now look, I made this fight happen for the fans 6 months after she got the title, and it's on ESPN, Sky Sports, my networks, not hers. Mayer versus Baumgardner, like I said it would be.
Yeah, I think I was listening to some of the lead up before, and it was the fact that I think she wanted to fight Choi, correct, and get another belt there, and then build this fight up and make it for undisputed at that point versus a belt holder still in Choi having another belt out there. Did you get that kind of gist as well?
Yeah, no, that's what she wanted, but that would have been a better way to go about it than saying Mayer has to wait, blah, blah, blah. It's my time. You know, the way she went about it is just so entitled, and she really hasn't done shit yet. She really hasn't. I mean, Terry Harper wasn't that big of a test. Her biggest test was Lenardatu, and she failed. So she still has a lot to prove in my eyes. You know, I get wanting to go for Choi first and making this a big undisputed fight, but just like I couldn't get the fight with Choi, she couldn't get the fight with Choi. Choi needs to be stripped of her belt. She does nothing for this era of women's boxing. She doesn't fight anybody. The people that she does fight are not top ranked. They're both subpar opponents, and she's just holding back this division and holding back women in the sport as a whole. I think she should be stripped, and it's ridiculous that none of us can get a fight with her because her team has these ridiculous standards. And if she was a true champion, she'd want to put her ass on the line and take meaningful fights, and she just doesn't.
All right. Well, while we're still waiting to get Alycia on the card, Evan, if you want to move forward with cueing some of the media, to all the media out there, raise your hand or send a direct message to Evan Korn. Your name will then be a filter to me, and then I will prompt you to ask the question to Mikaela. I can't see you guys asking the questions or anything like that. That's all go through PR. So it looks like we have our first question being asked by Jake Donovan. Hey, Jake. Mikaela's on the call, ready for you.
Great. Thank you very much, Christina. Mikaela, happy belated birthday. You look fantastic for 40, as Alycia said yesterday.
Right? Thank you.
Okay, I did want to ask, you touched on it, that the sense was Eddie and Alycia both said that they were going to make you wait, that they wanted to fight Choi, then it was going to be you. for all the marbles. So my two-part question for you is, what was your time frame for when you expected this fight to happen at 130 before maybe considering chasing at 135? And how soon after Taylor Serrano did you sense that this fight was very much a possibility?
I was going to give Baumgardner this year to make this fight happen with me because I'm going up. And same thing with Choi. After I run through Baumgardner, I'm going to give Choi a certain amount of time to accept this fight because I'm going up to 135 no later than February 2023. And so, you know, when she couldn't get the fight with Choi, she had to go somewhere. And I was the next best option, and Top Rank gave her a offer that she could not refuse. So that's why we're here. What was the second part of the question?
Oh, just because both of you were at Taylor Serrano, just like after that fight, it seemed like that's when this fight really started to pick up steam.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it was actually right when I was in the UK. I went up to Carl Moretti and I was like, you know, we're just, you know, chit-chatting a little bit about the next move and stuff. And he's like, don't write off Baumgardner this for the next fight. I'm like, really? And he's like, all I can say is stay skinny. I'm like, okay, I got you, Carl. Like, I'm on it, no worries. And that sort of gave me hope that maybe it was gonna happen. And I knew right away, I said, they can't get that fight with Choi. Just like we know how her team is. And I'm like, Eddie cannot get that fight with Choi. He cannot get her team to agree to terms. So she's going to have to move on. And then, you know, I always knew this fight was going to be with Top Rank and ESPN because, look, Top Rank has invested 5 years into me. Baumgardner just showed up, you know, 2 fights ago, and Matchroom just got her. So there's no way they were going to give this away to her. You know, despite what they thought was going to happen, like I'm the A side of this fight. I've always said that, and look where we are, Mayer versus Baumgardner on my network. So, yeah, I started getting excited about that when Carl told me that, and then next thing you know, we were in discussion. So that's great.
Thank you, Jake. Up next, Dan Rafael. Dan.
Thank you very much, Christina. Hello, Mikaela.
Hi.
Good to talk to you today. Happy birthday, as Jake said. My question for you, you mentioned in your introductory remarks, you called Claressa your Olympic sister. And I know you guys, obviously, you're co-headlining this show, both very significant fights. Could you just describe to me your relationship with Claressa Shields? Obviously, you're Olympic teammates. I know you guys know each other a long time, but tell me a little bit about your relationship. And was this ever the kind of thing when you ladies were amateurs and chit-chatting or just having a conversation like, hey, wouldn't it be cool someday if we're professionals fighting in a big championship doubleheader? Or was that ever even like a thing you guys would goof around about?
No. And that was never something I even spoke about because in my mind, I always thought I'd be a multiple-time Olympian. There was no market for women in professional boxing. And I just always thought that I really, really, really wanted to just be a great Olympian and go to multiple Olympics. And I even thought I would be at 2020 and 2024. And things sort of changed for me after 2020 or 2016, sorry, when I didn't really get everything I wanted from the Olympics. I didn't feel fulfilled. And not only because I didn't get my medal, but just in a lot of other ways. I felt like boxing was overshadowed by a lot of the other Americanized sports. And I just felt like it was a lot of work for little reward, and I wanted to take a risk elsewhere. So no, I never had these conversations with Claressa, but Claressa, on the contrary, always wanted to turn pro. I know she always wanted to turn pro. And so she did everything she said she was going to do, but we never talked about being on the same card together. Like I said, like she's my Olympic sis. I'll always support her. And I know we're both doing great things for the sport, but I never really envisioned us doing something like this, and it exceeded my expectations. But it's iconic, it's amazing, and I couldn't be happier. This is exactly what the sport needs.
Do you guys talk to each other outside of your, you know, I mean, I know you're going to have, you'll see her at the promotion for this fight. Obviously, you guys are both in the news as it relates to the build up to this match, but in your idle time or when you're just in training camps or in your normal life, do you guys have a relationship? Do you talk to each other? Do you like text each other? That type of thing?
Yeah, we always stay in touch. I mean, we're both so busy too, though. It's like we've been probably are due for a little me, Claressa, and Ginny get together vacation, but we just like haven't gotten around to it.
Right.
You know, we're just so busy, but we do try and stay in touch.
And I just have one other question for you. She's going over to fight Savannah in England, which is Savannah's hometown. You and Alicia are both Americans who are going to fight in England. But I just like your perspective on your first international fight as a professional. Obviously, you did it as an amateur, but just to go into that atmosphere of taking the world titles overseas and to have a fight not in your own country for the first time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that Mayer versus Baumgardner should be in the US because they're both Americans. But what they don't understand is that boxing is thriving in the UK and women's boxing especially. And so as the businesswoman that I am, it's only smart enough to go and get my face in front of those amazing fans and in front of that market. And that's, I think Top Rank sees that as well. You know, the US is very, very hard. Me and Clarissa are the only two trying to carry the weight of women's boxing in the US, and it is a very, very difficult market. And so while we continue on that quest to build women's boxing in the US, it's only right and smart of us to continue to grow our brand in countries that have already stepped up to the plate when it comes to, you know, welcoming women into the sport. And, you know, boxing there is like football here. So we would be stupid to not go over there and try and break into that market as well.
Thank you, Dan. MIKAELA, we have Cole Winston up next. Cole?
Hi, MIKAELA. Again, happy belated birthday. I'm sure this won't be the last time you hear that today. My first question for you, you mentioned Alicia Baumgardner and how Terry Harper wasn't even her toughest test. I want to know, do you look at Baumgardner as your toughest fight of your career?
No, I don't. I think that listen, I'm not saying that she's not a good fighter. She's good. She does what she does well, but she does that only. She's a very one-dimensional fighter to me. And to me, my toughest test is someone who's going to take me out of my comfort zone. I know how to box. I had to learn how to fight on the inside. Coach Al was preparing me for someone like Hamadouche my entire career, my entire time with him, the past 13 years with him. He's been secretly preparing me for someone like that, teaching me how to fight on the inside because he didn't want me to be a one-dimensional fighter. So I've had my tests. Baumgardner has not. She has not been, and the one time she lost. She didn't come out on top. And so I know that if someone wants to stand and box with me, I'm in my comfort zone. If someone wants to come and be aggressive and get me on the inside and rough me up, I'm still now that I have the experience, in my comfort zone. She can't say that. She needs to keep her opponents at bay and do what she does. And she's never had someone step to her and take her to the deep waters. And that's what I'm going to do to her. And she won't know how to handle it.
Sounds good. One more question. In terms of 2 minutes, 3 minute rounds, obviously it was presented at the first press conference in Katie Taylor made of Toronto. I want to know if that's already been decided or if, that's still up in the air and what's going on with that for these two fights.
I would love 3 minute rounds. I think it favors my style. Baumgardner can go around saying that she's a one punch knockout artist when she's only done that to one elite fighter. I'm not. I break you down in over time, right? And if I ever had 2 or 3 minutes more in some of my past fights, they would have been done for. So that's my style. I think it's just as dangerous and it's just as effective. And I think it would favor me, but that's not what they're allowing right now. The WBC is doing research. They said, I spoke to Mauricio about it, and they're sort of the ones that are drawing the line when it comes to allowing women to go 3 minute rounds. And he says it's because they've done the research. So far, the research doesn't support it. But that he's continuing to do the research, which I'm encouraging, because you can't even whatever data you have, even from 2-3 years ago, it doesn't add up to where women's boxing is now. And as we evolve, we have to continue to the data and continue to allow us to evolve in the sport. I think we're ready for 3 minute rounds, especially for these world title fights against these top contenders like myself, like Clarissa. So I'm hoping that gets changed very soon, but as of now, it's not happening.
All right, we're going to get to the main event in just a few minutes. It looks like we're still having technical difficulties trying to get Alycia Baumgardner on the call in just these next few minutes before we have to get to the main event. In any event that we can get her on, we get these technical difficulties sorted out, we will have her on post main event. So stay with us throughout the call. It would have been great to get you two together on this call, but it's not Alicia's fault. We're just having some problems trying to get her logged in here. So I apologize for those issues. We're going to get to Joey Mills for think maybe the last question or two here for MIKAELA before we move on to our main event. Joey?
Thank you very much, MIKAELA. I've got to say, as everyone else has said, happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts, obviously, after how huge it is. Now we've got this absolutely massive card coming up in London now that you're going to be a part of. 2022 really feels like a huge year for women's boxing. And I just wanted to hear your take on how far the sport has come in your time as a boxer.
Oh my God, it's come so far. You know, Coach Al keeps asking me, like, did you ever think that you would be here? Did you ever think that you'd be this far in your career and that everything would be happening this way? And I'm like, yes, Coach, yes. I always believed this was going to be, that I was going to have this type of career. Yes, I always believed that. But I understand how most people wouldn't. You know, I saw a vision that a lot of people couldn't see, and that's why I am where I am today. So it's come so far. I am so happy to be a part of this era of women's boxing. I think that we're changing the narrative, and this fight card right here is a perfect example of that. Getting two of the greatest women fights at the same time, giving the fans an easy one-stop shop. And yeah, I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. I think we're all on track, and I don't think that women's boxing will ever disappear again. And I say again because I feel like it did after that era with Layla Ali, Mia St. John, and Wolf and all them. And there's like a whole decade where women's boxing just wasn't even a thing. And we're back for good. I know that the talent pool is just too deep. And there's some young girls coming up that are just going to blow everyone out of the water. So I'm really excited. And I feel like if my career would end tomorrow, that I did the absolute best that I could. I hope it does. And I still have so much more that I want to accomplish and so much more that I need to get done. But I feel like I did my best and we're in a good place.
And just one more quick one. Obviously, you're returning to the UK. The last time you were here, you called it the land of the Spice Girls. So I have to get your thoughts. What is your favorite Spice Girls song?
Someone else asked me this. When you love something as much as the Spice Girls, there's no favorite song. Like, I know every single song on every single album, word for word. But I may reveal what my favorite is come fight week. You guys will see. But I had to do that because really growing up, Spice Girls was my only connection and affiliation to the UK. Like, that's all I knew was, oh, the Spice Girls are from there. So still a huge fan. Still, I mean, I had a 22-hour drive here to camp and I like blasted them the whole time. So it's a thing.
That would be epic for like a Spice Girls reunion and then walk you to the ring. I mean, come on.
I would just die. I would just die. If we can even get them.
I know. Okay, MIKAELA, before we let you go, it's a bummer that we didn't get Alycia on the call with you at the same time, but I just want to give you a minute or two for a final word as you're getting camp started and as we made the announcement for this historic night coming up on September 10th at the O2 Arena in the UK. One final word from you, MIKAELA.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be the most entertaining card you've ever seen. And I am so excited to announce that it's going to be all females. That's just amazing. If you're in America, please start busting your butt, stacking your cash. Everyone get over there. We need all the American sport as well. I want you guys to experience this also. And I'm just really excited to get in front of the UK fans for the first time.